In this video, we are going to see which AI model is the best for account research for your outbound strategy. A few weeks ago, in July 2025, I ran another test to see which AI model was the best for that. Today, we're going to do the same because we got like 2 new models, and we're going to see if those new models performs better and worse than the last test we ran comparing to the other models. So why I'm doing those tests is each model is great at one thing. So not just one thing, but I want to see for account research, for example, for outbound, which AI model is the best. The other thing is I test those models individually to see if I'm going to use them when I scale those research. So for example, if I'm using Claire or NLN, I'm using this individually first, and then I use the winning model to scale up. And the last one is wire account research and not like something more specific about another use case for core outreach or outbound is, for me, a successful outbound strategy or to get results, it starts with the account research, especially when you already know your ICP. So that's the goal with this test. And let's start with the results from last time. So we ran the test on 5 models: ChatGPT-5, Gemini 2.5 Pro, Claude Opus 4, Perplexity Research, and Grok 4. The O3 model won last time with a score 9, Gemini with 7, Claude Opus 4 with 5, Perplexity Research with 4, and Grok as the last one. And today we're going to see if this ranking changed. And for this test, we're going to use Claire as last time if I was a rep for Claire, or if I was a go-to-market leader for that company and going to run like an outbound strategy, and that's what we're going to do. The company I'm picking, this time I'm changing it. Last time was Dreda, this time is Windsurf. So this one is an interesting one because Google just hired some executive from Windsurf and some employees from the company. And then like a month or two after, so 3 or 4 weeks ago, Cognition acquired Windsurf. So this is an interesting one, and we're going to see if those models, they can find those key points that if they are going to use it or not using, for example, in the design. So I think we will start with GPT-5 and Claude 4.1 because they are the most recent one. And we're going to see, I'm going to compare all those models out of 5 key points. So problem solution alignment map. The second one is the tech stack. Third one, champion identification, then outreaching a recommendation, and the last one will be red flags. Why I'm doing those? Because the rest, they're pretty similar, I would say, in terms of output, and I think those 5 key points that I'm using to compare them, it's the one that really changed. So I already read or reviewed all of them, so I know which one is the best. So I'm going to obviously say that at the end, but I'm going to show you first if it's good or not good. But let's see with GPT-5 Thinking. GPT-5 Thinking, actually, it's pretty similar as the O3 model, I would say, in terms of, in the backend, the work of it, so the reasoning and the web access, in terms of how it works. Now, if we talk about the outputs, actually this model was the one performing better on the problem solution element map. It found like 5 key problems initiatives. It used, for example, that's the only model that found that they are in hiring pause, and how it found that. Basically, it went to the career page and couldn't find any jobs. So, and that's the only one finding that. So it understands something is happening. And then also it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's maybe the only one mentioning that as what I mentioned about Google in the acquisition in the problem solution element map. So for the GPT-5 Thinking model, I think it's the best one in terms of the output for problem solution element map. The second thing that we are assessing, evaluating this model on, is the tech stack. Same here with the O3 model. They are the one that perform the best. It gives me the tech stack of Windsurf and the source and the link, so I can verify that's accurate. And with the O3 model, there are only 2 models that did a good job at that, and also share some pain points about the tech stack. The other one that it did a good job at was the champion identification. So the champion, I think what ChatGPT-5 Thinking did great. Here it's champion and economic buyer. So it's really divide this in two. And it couldn't find anyone, but it knows that they're currently hiring for someone. And then the economic buyer, it's already identified that Graham was the VP of global sales that moved to president since the previous founder left the company. So I think same here, did a good job at that. The outreach angle, pretty good job. It used the research, and then also because the angle 2, for example, with the higher score based on the online research. I would say the only downside of that, it didn't use, for example, the leadership change or reorg post acquisition, which kind of like could have used that. And same here for the hiring post. The next thing that I think ChatGPT did an okay job, I think that's the only thing that could improve. It's the outreach angle. It used what I mentioned in the prompt, but it didn't leverage, for example, the leadership change or the reorg post acquisition, or same for the hiring post here in the angle. So I think that's the only thing that could be improved. And then the last one that I think it was the only one doing a great job at it was the red flags. It found obviously for the Google hired the previous executive, but also the acquisition and then the hiring post, and also talking about, because it's a AI company, they might focus on building in-house solutions. So I think that's the one with the best results so far. So, but at the end, I'm going to give you a score for each model and where ChatGPT-5 Thinking is ranking. The second model that was new, that is currently new, is Claude Opus 4.1. So let's see if we follow again the same outputs. Let's see. Let's start with the prompt solution map. I think he did a okay job. Not an okay job. He did a poor job. 3 of the prompt initiative was, I would say, okay, but couldn't even find the rank pose or that GPT-5 could find. And also the second thing is the acquisition. And the thing that was weird, that was the tool assigned, so multiple personas, developer, enterprise buyers here, and deployment engineers, so coordination. So for me, Claude here didn't do a great job. The 3 first programs are fine, but then the 2 last one, not good. So Opus 4.1, don't think they've done. The output is not great. Not great. Next thing, the tech stack, didn't do a great job. Couldn't find like that they use Salesforce, which arrangement tools. So it's not like they have web access. But this model has a limit in terms of web access. Or if it's in the web access, it's more like, can Claude leverage all the data found via the research? So couldn't find anything here. Champion found Graham, but obviously we already know that he's still at the company, but couldn't identify that he's not the VP of sales anymore, but now the president. So Claude did a okay job here. The outreach angle recommendation, angle 1 and angle 2 are okay. It's not great. Angle 3, single base. Actually, I think that's the only model that find that. Claude did a great job here at identifying that windsurf is in the AI coding assistant market and use that. So I think that's an additional insight. That's definitely something you want to know. And you mentioned their competitors, so Cursor and GitHub Copilot. So Claude, I think on angle 3 did a really good job. Okay, next one, red flags. Actually, it find the acquisition and Google acquire of founders. So I don't know why I didn't use that in the rest. So because obviously that's a key point that you want maybe to leverage that, because that's a major initiative or challenge if you want to go after them. So I think if you compare to GPT-5 Thinking, didn't do a great job. Now let's go to the model 03. That's the one that won last time. So let's see if, obviously, because we are comparing between each model. So I think the 03 model, it's okay at the problem solution element map if you compare to the 5 Thinking model from ChatGPT. It find like 2 problems, but one that it's I don't know if it's still relevant for right now, because if you're listening to this, it found like something from August 2024, so a year ago. I don't think that's still relevant. So obviously enterprise, it mentioned an enterprise focus, but enterprise focus, I think it still should be strong, but with the recent acquisition or the founders exiting the company, this one might not be the most, I would say, highest priority, for example, but still found something. But it was like from August 2024. Okay, next one, tech stack. The model did the same great job at ChatGPT-5 Thinking. Found the similar tools, the pain point and the gaps about that. Then champion identification did the same job as ChatGPT-5 Thinking. I found like those two. Didn't mention about champion or economic buyer, but if found the same people, Faso Graham and the new RevOps leader. The outreach angle recommendation, it did okay job, I would say, as ChatGPT-5 Thinking. And then the red flags, the acquisition, but I couldn't find, for example, the Google deal and the exit of the founder. So obviously, if we compare to ChatGPT-5 Thinking on this output, so far, 5 Thinking is better than 3. Yeah, that's where I see. Okay, now that's an interesting one. So like I said, I read everything I checked some sources or see. This one was number 2 last time, ranked as number 2, and I thought, okay, if the O3 model is not working anymore, I will use this one. But today, when I run the test, this one is the one with right now, and I don't know if that's the same on your side, but for me, today we are Sunday 17th, August 17th. This one is really the one I want to avoid, and I'm going to explain why, because I don't want to, if I'm not going to explain all the outputs, because this one is really like the one with the weird results. So with AI, and that's why also you need to run those tests before scaling this, is the hallucination from AI. Gemini 2.5 Pro, I found like 3 things that hallucinate on the 5 things I'm evaluating each model. So for now, I think that's one model that I don't know if on your side is the same, but I wouldn't use this model because of that. And I'm going to show you the 3 hallucinations, so we don't need to explain the outputs, because obviously if it hallucinates and creates fake information, I can't trust the output. So first one is, it talks about a quote from a CFO, David Chen, and this guy doesn't exist. So that starts really bad. I checked on Google, not on Google obviously, but on LinkedIn, and David Chen Windsurf, no one exists with this name. That's number 1. Number 2, it says Scalar Bond Motion, Elena Rodriguez at first CRO to professionalize. Same here, same situation. And actually, let's I'm on SalesNav and checking on Windsurf. Elena doesn't exist. So 2 things. And I think the other one was, it talks about an earning call. So this company is not public, so I don't know where the model find this. So I ran this prompt twice, and twice the output were not good. Right now, the model is hallucinating, and this one, that's the other one. The CFO, David Chen, so we already know it doesn't exist, and it talks about the Q2 earning call. So if the company is not public, even though, but I don't know if Cognition is a public company, but for example, before the acquisition, the company was not public, so it's hallucinating. If they're not public, how can you talk about the earning call? So right now, this one is at the bottom of the test of today, and that's why, just because of that. So I can't obviously use this information and compare to the rest if it's already using information that doesn't exist online. So Grok last time was the bottom performer on this test, so let's see what you can find. So actually, Grok, because it's focused on X or Twitter, it's the only one using quote from posts or tweets. That's, I would say, the main difference with the rest, but it doesn't make a huge difference. So I think the problem solution map that you can see here, the model did great job, a good job. I would say it's not really great if you compare to the O3 or ChatGPT-5 Thinking, but it's okay. I would say that's one of the main things that it did great. I would say in terms of the outputs, tech stack, similar as this time. Couldn't find any relevant information. So it says they use HubSpot when they use Salesforce. It says that they use Brevo for email platform when they use Outreach. So I think the model still struggle with web access, or maybe it's web access, or maybe it can't analyze a lot of data points. So, but that's same as last time. Didn't do a good job. Champion identification, similar as last time. Just say head of RevOps because it's the potential champion, but no reasoning behind that. It says also sales development manager, and yeah, it doesn't give us like any proofs of that. I know, yeah, actually, I think, yeah, if I remember correctly, actually, Grok did good, not a good job, but struggle and hallucinate. So like Gemini 2.5 Pro, it says on the outreach angle recommendation, as the opportunity automation, it says that they are currently hiring and they have like an active SDR manager hiring to enable high performing SDR. So which right now they're not hiring anymore. So we know that they're on a hiring freeze, and two, they're not hiring this role. So same here. I don't know if it's a web access limit but here it's not true. So yeah, didn't do a good job at that. And the last one was the red flags. That's, I would say, the only great thing he did. He could find the acquisition by cognition, but for example, the deal with Google, he couldn't find like there is a change in the leadership team. So I would say that's the only thing he did okay, not great actually, if unlike the acquisition, but well, yeah. Don't think Grok improved a lot since last time. So, and the last one, Perplexity deep research, and I think, yeah, this one pretty consistent with last time in terms of outputs, in terms of reasoning. It found like interesting things, but yeah, web access, I think it didn't change or improve as last time. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, actually, I saw a few things that I missed on my analysis, but the first thing I check obviously is the problem solution element map. It found the post-acquisition integration, talking about the new CEO, Jeff Wang, and the new president, Graham. That's one. The enterprise sales complexity, which is actually the only one that done that. He could find that the enterprise accounts are customers of Windsurf. And actually, that's the only one doing that. So actually, Perplexity did a better job than I thought. Okay, that's number one, first thing. Then, yeah, the thing that, that's the issue with Perplexity. Is last time, couldn't find like anything about the tech stack or pre-emitted. So this time it says likely, they use likely Salesforce, but if you check the source, I don't know if it's not accurate, but enrichment tool couldn't return anything, or email platform couldn't find anything. So this one is, the tech stack found by Perplexity is not good. So for champion identification for Perplexity, I think it did an okay job. Not great, not bad. So why? Because he found two people, so Jeff and Graham here. Jeff was the interim CEO, post-acquisition, and same from Graham, who was the former global sales leader. And I think they're not the champions, but more the economic buyers. So I understand the reasoning, but they're not the champions here. So I checked also on LinkedIn if they have a sales ops leader or rev ops leader. Couldn't find anyone. So maybe if we think about decision makers, like they are the people to go after. After, I think the outreach angle recommendation from Perplexity is it use the research what Perplexity could find as for the scoring. So same here, Perplexity I think did great job. I think, and especially for the first one. Why this angle score highest post-acquisition leadership, creates urgency for automated processes, need to maintain enterprise growth, momentum with new leadership structure. So I think that's good reasoning. And you only pick one, I explain one actually. The only downside of Perplexity that if we compare to the rest, it couldn't find any red flags or did not identify the post-acquisition as a red flag, but an acquisition it can be a red flag. Here it tagged that as a timing indicators, higher urgency. So yeah, I think it did if we assess on the full output, I think it did an okay job. The only thing I am missing that I'm seeing right now, I didn't talk about the Google deal with hiring the former founders, the founders of the company. Okay, so we've seen all the outputs. Now I can show you the results and see what's currently great and not as great as my last test. So number one, GPT-5 Thinking. So I'm surprised, and that's why I wanted to run this test not when the model was pretty new the first day. So I've been testing ChatGPT-5 Thinking since the launch. At the beginning, I was not happy with the output, so and I don't think we could still use the O3 model in the app. With API, you could use the O3 model. So ChatGPT-5 Thinking 2 weeks ago was not good. Now I think the model improved, and actually I'm surprised because before running this test today, I didn't think it was going to perform like this and being number one. The R3 model, I don't know if they are doing that on purpose, OpenAI, but are they limiting the R3 model so we use the new model? I don't know, because the R3 model when ChatGPT-5 Thinking was new, yeah, fast, it's still new, but 2 weeks ago, O3 was performing better, even with the API model. So yeah, surprise, I put like a 9 out of 10 for GPT-5, 7 out of 10 for the O3 because it's still good output, but missed like a few data points that ChatGPT-5 Thinking could find. So O3 now is number 2. Ranking, I put Claude Opus 4.1 and Perplexity Deep Research the same, 5 out of 10 for both. So didn't move. Claude was number 3 and Perplexity was number 4, so they are still at the same ranking. Grok was number 5, like still number 5, but not the bottom performer anymore because Gemini 2.5 is the new one for the new bottom performer, and that's the biggest surprise for this week. But yeah, now Gemini 2.5 Pro number 6, and I put like a 0 out of 10 just because hallucinate. I found like 3 hallucinations, and I'm sure the rest. I'm sure there is more on this one. So biggest surprise. Now we are at the end of this video, so you can use those tests, my results, and you can say, okay, just use ChatGPT-5 Thinking, for example, but I will run the test on the models, the top models, and see the output for you. But for example, right now for Gemini 2.5 Pro, I would be careful about using it because, 3 hallucinations in one output is a lot, and that's one of the biggest issues we've had in 2025. With AI in general, it's you want to trust the AI, so before scaling that. If you start scaling hallucination, it's your sales team is not going to use those outputs. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I see you on the next video.